So the last time we were together here, there's been a lot of development on the mask issue. We know Massachusetts has lifted the mask mandate for the upcoming school year. However, the words "for now" and phrases similar to it have many of us parents concerned that the powers that be can just flip at any minute for any reason and revert back. There's been a lot of information that has come out over the last year regarding mask use and the negative effects on our children. There's been a study released correlating low oxygen levels and increased CO2 levels in long-term mask use. In early 2021, I had a severe case of COVID. Think of the worst flu you ever had with every possible symptom, and then add a touch of respiratory pressure on top, likely courtesy of my underlying intermittent asthma. In the summer of 2020, the organization called America's Frontline Doctors stood in front of the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and spoke of a treatment that they had seen help thousands of people in real time. The protocol was a combination of hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and azithromycin. This made sense to me, especially since back in 2005, Dr. Fauci praised and encouraged the use of hydroxychloroquine as treatment for SARS-CoV-1. What is the criteria for emergency approval for a vaccine? The criteria for emergency approval is that there must be no available approved treatment. Again, this raises even more questions. So now getting back to my COVID experience, I was extremely sick, so I did what I had planned to do all along if I ever did get COVID. I called the American Frontline Doctors. I was prescribed the protocol of hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and azithromycin. She sent the prescription to their pharmacy in Florida that they use. The pharmacy then overnighted my medicine to me, and I started on it right away. Once starting the meds, my symptoms turned around in a matter of 6 hours, and I was on the mend. As residents of North Attleboro, Massachusetts, we declare our support to install a district-wide policy that would ban the use of required masks, thus making them optional. We request this policy be voted on by the school committee prior to the 21-22 school year, to ensure that the negative psychological, emotional, and physiological side effects cannot be placed upon our children moving forward. We've collected over 350 signatures, and it continues to grow daily. Although the majority of signatures are from parents, there's a handful of high school kids.
I'm here to add my support to the group of parents and students who do not believe that masks should be mandatory. After the return to school last year, I watched my son struggle with the mask mandate. He complained of discomfort and issues with communication between students and teachers. We now know the actual risk to those under 18 is extremely low. In addition, vaccines are widely available and extremely effective. Of course, students and teachers will always and should always have the option to wear a mask if they choose. However, I feel there is no reason for masks to be mandatory.
You guys stand on the wall to protect our children, as I said last time, from ridiculous bureaucratic rules from the state that seem to just sometimes change like the wind. So I implore you to vote and have a motion to set into policy the fact that masks are not required by the students. The other thing I wanted to talk about was a study that recently came out, and it basically says that there are negative impacts, and there are negative impacts of having the students breathe in carbon dioxide and wearing a mask all day for healthy children. In fact, it was a fairly dramatic impact and actually exceeded standards set in Europe. It shows that the value of the carbon dioxide is threefold greater than the 0.2% limit by volume, which is 2,000 parts per million. The youngest had the level, with one 7-year-old having a carbon dioxide level measured at 25,000 parts per million. Let's make sure that the treatment isn't worse than the cure.
When I received this, I thought that, a policy is really something that's kind of concrete. And if there's one thing that we know about what we've experienced in the last 18 months, is that there's no knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, and you got to be able to pivot and move. I wouldn't want to handcuff a superintendent with a hard and fast fixed policy that didn't allow that flexibility. And I'm not taking a position one way or the other. I'm just saying I think we need to keep our options open. I think we just, it's July. We're going to be meeting in August. I think we just have to stay more flexible and see how things evolve.
Pushing it later might help us at least have something to react to. Right now, we're reacting to a hypothetical. If it's possible, I'd like to push it a little bit.
I'm getting the census that, we don't want to recommend this down to the policy subcommittee. Just seems Okay.